Still got 10 minutes. But Parliament में तो कुछ हो रहा नहीं है. होना नहीं है. सब हो रहा है जो भी Parliament के बाहर ही है. Yeah. It's part of it. Only thing is we want to make sure that just morning I have to address the issue in Delhi? Yeah. Okay. आप लोगों का 12 बज गया? अच्छा, I will speak in English and any questions, clarification in Hindi I am ready. So पहले मैं let me first give you a very short background. I am presenting today to you what is called as prima facie evidence. Because if I were to present to you conclusive evidence, then I'll have to give you about 7,000 pages of documentation. So because in financial world they are all interconnected, and so in order to finally prove it takes time. I have to just show suspicion. Like in the case of Raja, the CBI, what did it show? That in the case of Kannimori, that money came from Kusegaon to Kalenjar TV, and there was no reason for it, and the timing was such that the licenses were given at the same time. So they said prima facie she is guilty unless in trial it is proved that there is some explanation. That's the way criminal trial proceeds. Now in the Prevention of Corruption Act there are 3 sections. One section I have already invoked, and now I have finished my argument with the Supreme Court, and maybe next week we will know, where I said that it was not in the public interest what Raja and Chidambaram decided, namely that the price of spectrum was fixed very low, and then the companies which got it sold it to foreign companies at 8 times, 9 times the price they paid the government of India. So the companies made the profit instead of the government. This is the thing, and Raja in that case, it has already been accepted by the trial court. The question was whether Chidambaram was there. The trial court's mistake was in thinking that I have to prove criminal mind in order to have a prima facie case. That's not correct. As far as the section 3 of part 3 of section 13 is concerned, you only have to show lack of public interest, and it was clear that there was no public interest in giving it cheap, since the parties were allowed to sell it at market price to others. So now, now the Supreme Court has to decide whether I am right or wrong. Now coming to the part 2 of the Prevention Corruption Act section 13, where I am showing that some of the decisions which Mr. Chidambaram is involved in, there is some money changing hands. This is the thing I have taken. I am going to prove to you the prima facie case. First of all, what is this about? This is about the Aircel Maxis deal. Maxis is a Malaysian company. It is headed by a man called Anant Krishnan, who is originally of Sri Lankan Tamil origin. He has very strong connections with the LTTE, and many of the LTT money gets laundered by him. And he lives in Malaysia. And Aircel is headed by a Tamil from India called Shiv Shankaran. And in around 2005, Mr. Shiv Shankaran was in a state of bankruptcy. He was unable to pay installments and so many other things, couldn't pay back loan. So some buyer came, and that was Maxis in disguise, who said, I would like to buy 74% of the shares. At that time, the permission to buy 74% of shares required the Foreign Investment Promotion Board, of which the chairman was Mr. Chidambaram. Now, what happens is that, what I will show is that this permission which ought to have been given in end of 2005 or beginning of 2006, Chidambaram delayed because he wanted a cut. This is my allegation. And so around March of 2006, one of Chidambaram's son's companies was enabled to buy shares in the company owned by Shiv Shankar, which was a holding company controlling all the telecom companies. So the telecom company of Shiv Shankar was Airtel and Aircellular Limited. These two companies, the body holding it was called Airtel Televentures. Airtel Televentures. So Mr. Chidambaram's son was allowed to first give a loan of the registrar of companies to give clearance, and then it was converted into shares. And then once that happened, then because the holding company was to get the money from Maxis, and that was 4,000 crore rupees, out of that a share went to Mr. Karti Chidambaram, the son of Chidambaram. This is what I will show to you in a minute. And that's how the deal was effected. So there are other aspects about whether he was forced to sell, and all those are secondary aspects that the Supreme Court is considering it. Right now I am going to show this. So let's start with reading annexures. Let us take annexure number 1, which is beginning on page 6. Now, annexure 1, which you can go to page 10, that is where I am going to refer to. This is a thing that you have to file with the Companies Act about the company. On page 8, the name of the company is given, Osbridge Holdings and Investment Private Limited. And if you turn to page 10, at the bottom, it is written Karti Palaniappan Chidambaram, and how much shares does he own? 94.74%. So 94.74% of this Osbridge Holdings and Investment Private Limited is owned by Mr. Chidambaram's son Karti, and so it is his company. And the remaining is a man called Mohan Rajesh, whose name is also there, and he lives on the same street, and he is like a glorified chaprasi of Karti. So he has 5%, so he can sign and things like that. Then you come to annexure 2, and that is dealing with the address and all that of Mr. Rajesh, which you can have, which you can see is the same address, Pycroft Garden Road in Chennai. Now you come to annexure 3, which is on page 12, and there you see Osbridge. Now I told you Osbridge is the company owned by Karti Chidambaram to the extent of 94.75% of the shares. And they are already completely in his, and his friend or his glorified chaprasi has the remaining. And there you see in schedule below, one is the shares in Surya Samudra Resorts Private Limited. And here the amount 49,000 that is written there, this is 4,900 shares at 10 rupees each. I have calculated constitutes 50% of the shares of this company by asking the registrar of companies. And the more important thing is the next one, which is Advantage Strategic Consulting Private Limited, where he has 5 lakh shares, and that is compounded in this complicated way. This financial system is like that. And I have calculated that this means that Osbridge, which is Karti's company, any problem? Osbridge, which is owned 94% or more by Karti Chidambaram, owns 67% of this Advantage Strategic Consulting Private Limited. Let me tell you, this is the headache that all of us have in this investigation, that the financial system is so well developed because of computers that you can go on having one company transferred to another company and so on. This has happened in Bofors also, but much less in those days. But anyway, first of all, Karti owns a company called Osbridge. Osbridge owns a company called Advantage Strategic Consulting by owning 67% of the shares, and it also owns 49% of the shares in Kaiser Samudra Resorts, which is a hotel building company. So these are two things which have been established by this. Now come to Annexure 4 and Annexure 5 taken together. Let's go to page 13. Now, first of all, there's something fishy about this account, and this is one of the things I find in Mr. Karti Chidambaram's accounts everywhere, all fishy. Now take the extreme right-hand column, 31/3/2007. And this was filed on November 18th, 2008, which is written at the bottom by hand. And what does it say? The capital account funds is 100,000 rupees. Now, you go to, and you go next to page, when he filed it next year, or some years later, not even next year, he filed it 3 years later, violating company law. And there he files for 2006 and 2007, and earlier on he files for the first one is 2008 and 2007, and the earlier one is 2007 and 2006, because the company law requires to file 2 years at a time. And there you find 31/3/2007 in the first one on page 13 is only 100,000, but here suddenly it says 190,000. And then again you go below current investments. Here in page 14 he says 1,70,000, and then in page 13 he gives only 80,000 by hand. So I mean, these are all these forged accounts, so I have to pass through those forged accounts. But anyway, I thought I'd bring it to your notice. And it's explained, and this kind of fraud is also there. So anyway, Karti can be prosecuted for company law violations. Now we come to Annexure 6. And here it's the balance sheet of the Advantage Strategic Consulting Company. Osbridge, Karti owns 94.75%, and then Osbridge owns 67% of Advantage. And there we find very interesting thing, which if you please turn to page 18. And you find here the fact that these numbers are given. Now you go to 19, there are more accounts, 20, 21, and then you go to 22. And it says loans and advances. And there is no explanation whether it is unsecured, secured, nothing. And their second item is Aircel Tele-Adventure. And it says that on 31/3/2006, that is as of, it was before March, Mr. Karti Chidambaram loaned Aircel Tele-Venture 26 lakhs and so on. This is 5% of the share value. I mean, it is later converted into shares. It is put as loans in this account because the ROC had not given permission to buy these shares. So for the time being, this is the usual trick in company law. They gave a loan, and then this loan was converted. It was not repaid, but it was converted into shares. And that turns out to be 5% shares of Aircel Tele-Venture. So Mr. Karti Chidambaram has now become the owner of 5% of the Aircel Tele-Venture, which is the holding company. And Then in May 2006, Mr. Chidambaram, who is the chairman of the Foreign Investment Promotion Board, clears the deal of Maxis buying 74% of the shares, and they pay 4,000 crores to Aircel Televenture, which name has been changed by then because the Maxis was taken over. It is changed to Shiva Televenture. Shiva Televenture gets 4,000 crores. And once Shiva Televenture gets 4,000 crores, then what happens is that of that, in the Shiva Televenture crores accounts, it shows 1,300 crores given to associate companies. And in fact, if you take 4,000 crores and take 5% share of Karti, it is 200 crores. Now, how he disposed of those 200 crores is another interesting fact. But first of all, let me prove that prima facie, the decision to buy 5%, get 5% shares in Aircel Televenture is followed by the clearance of the Aircel Maxis deal, which was not cleared in 2005 because Mr. Chidambaram wanted a share, and he got it through his son. Now, once he got it, then what did he do? There are many things he did. Bought property all over. If you see their account, you will see Kodaganad Coffee Estate. Then another interesting thing is he decided to buy 4.62 hectares of land to build a 7-star hotel resort near Mahabalipuram on the outskirts of the Chengalpet district of Tamil Nadu, which is the next district after Chennai. The neighboring district of Chennai is Chengalpet. So that portion I'll come to in a minute. But I would like to draw your attention to page 23. Page 23 has been procured with great difficulty from RBI, and it describes outward foreign direct investment. If you see the thing, Foreign Exchange Department, Central Office, Overseas Investment Division, outward FTI from India. This is a printout of the computer. And then on the left-hand top corner, it says from 1 September 2011 to 30/9/2011. Then you go down to serial number 14. And what you see, Karti Chidambaram's company, Advantage Strategic Consulting, is giving foreign direct investment to Advantage Strategic Consulting Singapore Pte Limited, and then the next line is WOS, which means wholly owned subsidiary. That is, this Singapore company is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Indian company. And how much money is there? It is in terms of equity, buying equity, it is $1.8625 billion, $1 million, that would work out to be roughly 10 crore rupees for 1 month. And I have asked the Reserve Bank, please give me all the months from 2008 when the thing was signed to today, 2006 to today. The Reserve Bank is very reluctant because they have got around, and I think somebody must have spoken. But more important is that there is no mention in the company accounts of the Indian company of Mr. Karti that he has a Singapore company. It's a completely illegal company. And from that, where it went, what did this company do? I was in Singapore a few days ago. I asked them, what does this company do? They said, we don't know. All that Mr. Karti Chidambaram does when he comes to Singapore is punt on stock prices. You know, he sits there and then punts on Indian stock prices sitting in Singapore. That means he predicts the price and then makes a killing if he's right in that price. It's called gambling. It's a form of gambling. So that's all that he is doing. And a finance minister to have a son who's dealing with finance, insurance, and business services, I think there's a real conflict of interest in this matter. So I have essentially established that Mr. Karti Chidambaram entered into a financial dealing with Airtel. Airtel then sold this their cellular company, GSM companies, to Maxis. Maxis chairman is a Sri Lankan Tamil who has LTD connections. No reference to the IB to check his credentials. It's very well known that he has been laundering money for the LTTE. But more important just now, like the Etisalat and Telenor, the more important thing now is that in this deal, Mr. Chidambaram, the Maxis, his son, they are interconnected, involved, and consequently, this must have been facilitated by Mr. Maran, and therefore this angle has to be investigated. We also find that on page 25, there is on the agenda number 8, there is something called construction of resort at Muthukadu village, Chengalpat, page 16, item 16, but our page 26. And this is a 200 crore project. And if you see right at the end, page 30, this Kaita Surya Samudra resort has hardly any money. If at all there is any money, it is Schedule C, which says loan provided by Miss Nalini Chidambaram. They are all very rich people in that family. So that's all it has. And it was able to go for a project of 200 crores, and Mr. Karunanidhi as Chief Minister cleared it within a few minutes. No questions asked, nothing. They said only Ministry of Environment as we consider. At that time, Balu was the Environment Minister, and the matter was, at that time Raja was the Environment Minister, 2009, of course, it was Mr. Balu was the, it was not Balu, it was one of the DMK ministers who was thing, and now, of course, Mr. Jayanti Natarajan has taken it over. So, therefore, this interlocking arrangement makes it very clear that there is a nexus. This is my first installment. I'll be giving you more installments. Also, not only in 2G, but in Tetra also, Mr. Chidambaram's son is there. And the Rajasthan ambulance matter, Chidambaram's son is there. Practically everywhere money can be earned, Mr. Chidambaram's son is there. Of course, the father is the father figure in that. So, I have written a letter to the PM and to Ms. Jayalalitha. And to the PM, whatever I said, let me read it up briefly. Paragraph 1. During March first week this year, at a press conference in Chennai, announced the names and details of several companies where Home Minister P. Chidambaram's son, Karti Chidambaram, DIN number so-and-so, which is for a company law number, is a director. Within a few days of my press conference on March 9, 2012, Mr. Karti Chidambaram resigned from the directorship of only one company. There is a spelling mistake there, called Osbridge Holding, which is in fact the most important company, where he had 94.75%, but he resigned. Why? Because probably he knew that I was onto the game. After I checked the accounts of this company, I found this company is invested and have majority of shares in two companies, Advantage and Kaiser Surya. And these accounts are all totally manipulated. Then come to paragraph 4. Mr. Karti Chidambaram controlled company Advantage Strategic Private Limited entered into a financial transaction with Shivshankaran Aircel Televenture just a few months before Malaysia's controversial Maxis investment of about 4,000 crores by acquiring 74% was approved by the FIB in May 2006. The foreign sale proceeds were accounted in Aircel Televentures, which soon changed its name to Shiva. In that, Karti had 5% stake. Next paragraph. As per analysis of financial statement of concerned companies, shows Karti Chidambaram Controlled Advantage Strategic Private Limited, the said transaction of 26 lakhs was to acquire shares in Shiv Shankaran Aircel Televentures to share the booty of around 4,000 crores from the Malaysian company Maxis. This is there is a corresponding share increase tallying with 26 lakhs that can be seen in Aircel Televenture accounts in the financial transaction with Mr. Karti's controlled company. Moreover, further analysis of financial statement of the concerned companies give the impression that soon after the Aircel Maxis deal, huge amount of more than 1,300 crores has gone out of Aircel Televentures in the form of loans without mentioning any mandatory specifics, who to when and whether it is free and so on. Number 6. These dubious transactions show that the then Finance Minister, Mr. Chidambaram, ensured that FIB clearance on FIR are all deputed to the CBI. We have already seen on the other matter, when I've gone to the trial court, now in the Supreme Court, CBI has consistently refused to say that Chidambaram had no role to play at all. He didn't even have a meeting with Raja. That extent they went. So here too, the whole slowness in the investigation of Mr. Maran, or taking him into custodial interrogation and getting the facts, is because the involvement will lead to Mr. Chidambaram. Then paragraph 9, Osbridge Holdings also have majority shares in another company called Kaiser Surya, Pound, etc., all that. So I've written to that, I've written to Ms. Jayalalitha also, and these letters were written only a few days ago, and I'm hoping that this matter will be referred to the CBI. If it is not referred to the CBI, then I will go back to the trial court on another charge against Mr. Chidambaram. That is, instead of section 13 bracket 1 bracket D part 3, which is what I went last time, I will also now go under section 13 of the Prevention of Corruption Act, part 1, bracket 1 bracket D, part 1 and part 2. Both these sections which I did not touch last time, these I will do. I hope that the Prime Minister doesn't do what he did last time and get a rebuke from the Supreme Court, or at least his office get a rebuke from the Supreme Court, and he will immediately ask Mr. Chidambaram to step down, because with Mr. Chidambaram not stepping down, it is not possible for the CBI to do a fair investigation. I have no doubts about the intellectual capacity of the CBI officers. They are all top rate. I have interacted with them, but they are so concerned about their careers that they don't want it to be ruined, and therefore they're just dragging it out. And some of them even tell me, "Aapka sarkar to aane wala hai, to kya jaldi hai, us samay kar lenge." That kind of mood, which is unfortunate. We want the corruption to be fought, and therefore it is now necessary for further progress in the 2G matter speedily for Mr. Chidambaram to be made to resign, and I hope the Prime Minister will respond. Thank you. Now I'll take questions from you.
You talk about his son mostly, but what is the result?
You mean his son and he have no connection? There you can see his wife has given loan to his company. Take up his thing, it will be there. I don't need to show that Mr. Chidambaram and Karti were together in this deal at all. The fact of the matter is, Finance Minister and his son is doing this. It is clearly a question of conflict of interest, and Mr. Chidambaram should have told them. And the timing is something prima facie. I told you from the beginning that this is a matter for investigation. That why didn't he clear it in 2005? Why did he do it in 2006? And only after this 5% share was given. So I don't think I need to have any more evidence than this to initiate an inquiry. एयरसेल एक दक्षिण भारत की कंपनी है जिसका मालिक है शिवशंकर, और वो उनकी दिवालापन निकल गई थी, तो वो ढूंढ रहे थे कोई इसमें भागीदारी बने इस कंपनी में। तो उस समय उनके पास एक प्रपोजल आया था 2005 में। वो था मलेशियन कंपनी मैक्सिस, जिसके मालिक थे अनंत कृष्णन, जो श्रीलंका के तमिल समुदाय से आए हुए हैं और वहाँ बसे हुए हैं, और लिटे के साथ उनकी गहरा संबंध है। उन्होंने एक प्रपोजल दिया, उस प्रपोजल में ये राजी हुए, और राजी होने के बाद फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रमोशन बोर्ड की परमिशन की आवश्यकता थी। उस परमिशन को में विलंब हो गया। विलंब होने के कारण बातचीत हुई होगी, और उसी के बाद थोड़े बाद शिवशंकर ने 5% अपनी शेयर, जो होल्डिंग कंपनी है, जो उसकी सेलुलर कंपनीज को कंट्रोल करती थी दिल्ली में, तमिलनाडु में, अन्य जगहों में, उस कंपनी में 5% शेयर उन्होंने कार्ति चिदम्बरम को दी। अब इसके आधार पर जो भी उनको पैसा मिली मैक्सिस से 4000 करोड़ रुपए, उसका 5% हिस्सा इनकी बन जाती है, और बनने के कारण उसको 200 करोड़ रुपए का मुनाफा मिलेगी। और इस पैसे को उन्होंने क्या किया, इसके बारे अभी कोई विवरण नहीं है, जो जांच से ही पता लग सकती है। लेकिन मैंने रिजर्व बैंक से जो पता किया, उसके अनुसार 1 महीने के लिए जो मुझे डेटा मिल सकी बड़ी मुश्किल से, उसमें उन्होंने 10 करोड़ रुपए 1 महीना में अपनी होल्ली ओन्ड सब्सिडरी कंपनी को उन्होंने भेज दी। और वहाँ से कहाँ गया, स्विट्जरलैंड गया, लिechtenstein गया, वो तो बाद की बात है, वो तो जांच की बात है। लेकिन ये उन्होंने किया, तो एक सीधा संबंध बन गया है कि फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट बोर्ड की फैसला तब आई जब इनको ये शेयर मिली। और इनको क्यों शेयर मिलनी चाहिए, इनको ये 5% इनको इसमें आए, और उन्होंने फिर उसको क्यों ट्रांसफ़र किया, इस सारी चीज़ों पर पूछताछ होनी चाहिए। और इसीलिए मैं कहता हूँ कि चिदम्बरम की बेटा इस एयरटेल मैक्सिस की जो डील हुई है उसमें उनका पूरा हिस्सा है। और जिस तरीके से कन्नी मोड़ी के बारे कहा गया कि जब कुसेगांव फ्रूट्स एंड वेजिटेबल, अब कुसेगांव फ्रूट्स एंड वेजिटेबल यानी सब्जी और फल का टेलीविज़न के क्या संबंध है, लेकिन 200 करोड़ दिया, उसी पर संदेह पैदा हुई और उसी पर जांच चल रही है। अभी ये कोई ये नहीं कहा है कि हमें कैसा पता है कि राजा का इसमें संबंध है, ये ट्रायल कोर्ट की सवाल है। और वैसे ही यहाँ भी इनको इतनी पैसा मिली है और इस पैसे के कोई रिपोर्टिंग नहीं है उनके अकाउंट्स में, उनके अकाउंट सब झूठे हैं। और आज जो 4.5 हेक्टेयर से ज़्यादा ज़मीन खरीद के एक 200 करोड़ रुपए का, और जिस कंपनी का पास सिर्फ 5 लाख है शेयर पेड अप कैपिटल, उसमें 200 करोड़ रुपए का उन्होंने इन्वेस्टमेंट करके एक 5 स्टार होटल बना रहे हैं। उस 5 लाख में भी उसकी माँ की 1.5 लाख की लोन है। तो ये सारे जो हैं इससे बड़े संदेह पैदा होती है। और प्राइमा फेसी माने जब तक इसका खंडन नहीं होगा जांच से या ट्रायल से, तब तक हम इसको मानना चाहिए कि इस दाल में कुछ काला है। बोफोर्स के लिए मैं अलग से प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस कर रहा हूँ क्योंकि मैंने सीबीआई को बड़ी दस्तावेज दिया। मैंने सीबीआई को भी लिख दिया है, एनफोर्समेंट डायरेक्टर को भी लिख दिया है, आरओसी को भी कहा कि इनको प्रोसिक्यूट करो क्योंकि इन्होंने झूठा कंपनी अकाउंट्स दी है। और मैंने प्रधानमंत्री को चिट्ठी लिखा है कि चिदम्बरम की इस्तीफा ले लो, और यदि ये कोई सुने ना तो मुझे दोबारा न्यायालय के दरवाजों को खटखटाना पड़ेगा। पता है, ये तो 30 मार्च के पहले का अकाउंट है, ऊपर लिखा है 2006 का। ये तो जनवरी में हुआ था, और वो जो हुआ FIB वो तो मई 3 तारीख को हुआ था। प्रिवेंशन ऑफ करप्शन, यस। Oh, sure, certainly. Even in this matter of that presently pending in the trial court, even there, the CBI can easily investigate the money trail. So what? The money is coming from an Indian citizen, no? So they have yes, we'll have to go and get permission and all that. Yes, sir. Yes. Put the question to you in your own language. Is it possible that he did it to get money out of Shiv Shankar? Since both are possible, I have prima facie proved. Therefore, an inquiry should take place. And a fair inquiry cannot take place till Mr. Chidambaram resigns. That is the whole thing about criminal law, that as long as you have proved before rebuttal, before advancing any argument, that it is possible that a crime has been committed, then immediately the process of the criminal law is issued. So, you may be right, but we'll only know that in the trial. Right now, I may be right too, and that also we'll know only in the trial. So, therefore, an inquiry is necessary. Have to be shown by them in the court of law when their lawyers are arguing that this was perfectly legitimate. And but at this stage, I have shown that this is very possible that this was a deal. And after all, you see, Mr. Chidambaram, why should he give a loan and take a share? I mean, what is his qualification? He's working in the finance field. When the minister is a finance minister, I think is a general. In fact, in the transaction of business rules, ministers are told, please don't have any shares in any of the companies which you are likely to deal with. It's a violation to do that. You are also told, please see that your relatives do not partake in any activity which would concern your taking decisions in. So, the conflict of interest is so clear here. No, it has legal enforceability because we are in the Prevention of Corruption Act, where we are to prove that you misused your position. And for proof, you misused your position to benefit your son. That's section 13. Please read section 13, will become very clear. Yes. 1 minute. जयललिता को कुछ पता नहीं लगा कि क्या हुआ है, सिर्फ जयललिता के टेलीविजन में तो खूब मुझे दिखा रहे हैं, इतना ही बता रहे। क्या कह रहे थे? पड़ा हुआ है, मैं नहीं कह सकता। मुझे इतना दूर जाने की जरूरत ही नहीं है। मैंने दिखा दिया है। वो चिदम्बरम, मारन, उसके बेटा, वो सब एक ही डिस्कोथेक में जाने वाले लोग। To institute an immediate probe into the illegalities and violation of granting clearance to this luxury resort project in the sensitive coastal belt and the involvement of huge black money flow into this project headed by Mr. Karti Chidambaram controlled company. And I seek justice. कन्वर्ट हुआ है और उसका मेरे पास अभी तक वो रजिस्ट्रार से आया नहीं, बट आई हैव गॉट इट वेरीफाइड बाय समबडी गोइंग एंड रीडिंग द फाइल, सो आई एम सेइंग इट विद फुल रिस्पांसिबिलिटी, बट एनीवे आई एम टेलिंग यू। अब यही है ना, तो ये तो पता करने की बात हो गई ना। अब थैंक यू, बाय। So, some other press conference, yeah. They changed you? Chairman का account है।